Hi everyone, welcome back to Grind and Shine. This is Isabel. Today we're very happy to have a special guest with us. She has 11 years of experience in the F&B industry in Singapore. She worked in Common Man Coffee Roasters, Publico and Intercontinental, and also Micro Bakery. Now she's the owner of Spring, a coffee shop located in Hong Lim Complex in Chinatown. Welcome, Wren.
Thank you.
Before we start the podcast, maybe Wren, you can briefly introduce to us your background and who you are.
Hi. Hi, I'm Wren. Like Isabel said, I'm the co-owner of Spring Coffee in Hong Lim Complex. I've been in this industry for the past 11 to 12 years. I actually started out not in F&B. I started out in HR. I did HR after I graduated from university. So I did that for about 2 to 3 years before I went into coffee. And then my very first place was Common Man Coffee Roasters, so the original outlet at Martin Road. So I'm very grateful for the boss there who gave me a chance to be in this industry. I learned a lot of things. Most of the foundations that I have are from Common Man Coffee Roasters. So I spent about almost 3 years there, so I would say it's like a life-changing experience for me to start being in this industry from there. And then after that I went overseas for a while. I was in New Zealand for a year, so I did a few different places. I was in F&B, I was in hospitality, I was in hotels for a while, and then I came back to Singapore. I did about 2 to 3 years in Publico in the Intercontinental Hotel, and I managed the coffee program there. And then after that I moved on to Micro Bakery at Red House. So that was the very last place I was at. I was there for about 3.5 to 4 years before I left, and then before starting this place. So basically I've been in this industry for a very, very long time.
Wow, that is impressive. Maybe I can talk a bit of my impression when I came to Spring. Actually, it was just a month ago, because this shop was set up in February, so it's around 4 months ago. And I looked through Instagram and I just came across this place, and I was like, oh, it's such a small cozy place. And I came to Hong Lim Complex, which is like a HDB area in Chinatown. And once I went into Spring, I felt like a sense of calm, and the interior is very calm and peaceful and nicely decorated with a lot of flowers as well. And then I ordered a filter coffee. I remember it was very nice. It was very acidic and fruity, and it just came to me as a surprise. So I was like, more people need to know about this place. It's so special, so cozy. And that's why I also invited Wren to this podcast to share her journey with us and how she started the whole coffee journey. We can start to dive into your journey. What inspired you to start Spring in the first place when you have been working in the industry for 10 plus years?
I think everybody who has worked in the industry for long enough would want to not just be an employee. So there's only a few progressions you can do when you're in coffee, right? So you either go and become a roaster, or you just want to become a world latte art champion or something like that. So for me, I've always wanted to open a coffee place. So I'm very inspired by a lot of the cafes that I visited in places like Melbourne, in Taiwan. So they're very small. Most of my favorite places are very small, very intimate, but the quality is always there. It's always consistent. You always feel very welcome there, even though it's crowded, it's busy. Especially the places in Taiwan. I've been to many cafes in Taiwan that I feel very welcome. You know the boss, the owners come to you especially to talk to you personally. You don't feel like you are just there as a customer. They really treat you as a friend, as family, right? So that is something that I always wanted to have in Singapore, and I feel that in Singapore the coffee scene is always booming. There's always new places coming up, but it's not easy to find a place where you just want to go back to again and again and feel very comfortable, and you get consistently good quality coffee or good quality beverages, whether it's coffee or not. So after I left Micro Bakery, I actually I was actually quite burnt out, so I actually wanted to go back to doing corporate.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be in this industry anymore because it came to a point where it just didn't make sense anymore.
Yes.
There's not enough appreciation for what we do as baristas, because sadly that is the reality in Singapore. People don't understand the effort it takes to be a barista in Singapore, and people don't understand why it's such a big thing in Singapore.
Yeah.
So I actually, after I left micro, I actually wanted to not be in this industry anymore, but it was just like coincidence that my business partner actually approached me at the point of time where I debated whether I wanted to be in this industry or not.
Yeah.
So I would say it's also a good timing lah, that he approached me at the right time. You know, I felt that I still enjoyed hospitality. I want to serve people.
Yes.
I want to share good coffee with people, but it needed to be right timing and the right partner to show up. And I think he happened to approach me at the point of time in my life where I felt, okay, I think I'm ready to take the leap of faith and do something on our own. So whether it works out or not, we wouldn't know, but I think it was the right time that he approached me, and we felt we could I could do something on my own. Yeah, basically I just wanted to share what I experience as a customer when I go to cafes, whether in Singapore or overseas. I just wanted to share that kind of experience with the customers who come into this space.
Wow, nice. What is your favorite cafe in Taiwan?
In Taiwan?
Yeah, Taiwan.
Actually, the most memorable one that I've been to is actually also called Spring in Taipei. Yeah, so it's called Spring Day. So it wasn't planned. It was just a shop that we walked past, and then we happened to see. So it was also glass windows, a lot of plants outside. So we just happened to walk in because it was just there. And we just went in, and then the owner is this one uncle who has like a very small roaster at the corner, and then he just roasts like a very small batch of beans, fresh. And then he welcomed us, even though we maybe not all of us in our party wanted to drink something, but he just welcomed us to sit down, and he gave all of us something to try, even though not everyone was a specialty coffee person. He gave us a pudding on the house to try. So I think it was that kind of hospitality that was very inspiring for me, and it just so happened to be called Spring Day, so it's called 春日好日 in Taipei. So I think I was like very inspired by his hospitality, and when he found out that I was also a coffee person, I was a barista in Singapore, he invited me to hop onto the bar and like brew something up for his customers as well. So I think it's not easy to find that kind of
the human touch.
In cafes in Singapore, because unfortunately it's just a different scene in Singapore. It's more of like a volume kind of thing in Singapore, right? Because it's a business after all. But I think in Taipei, people are willing to slow down a little bit. They want to really welcome you as not just a customer. They want to welcome you as a friend, as a family, like I said before. So that was actually one of my favorite places. So I went there once a few years back when I was in Taipei, and after that, subsequently when I went back to Taipei, I always paid a visit to him, and he still remembered that, oh yeah, you're the girl who visited from Singapore. Like, oh, remember you came in during Chinese New Year with your family.
Remembered,
so I think that was very, very memorable for me. So I always make it a point to try and remember like the customers who come in here. They come in with their family, with their kids. I think it's a very nice touch to remember what they like. And I mean we do have quite a lot of regulars who come in every other day, a few times a week. So I think it's nice to feel like you know what they want, you know what they like, and you remember them because they've been supporting you since day one. And we are very lucky to have customers who are like that, who have supported us since the very first day.
Is this why this coffee shop is called Spring?
Partly.
Partly
because of the space. And also because we wanted, when we started out this place, we wanted it to be like a new beginning for both of us, for me and my business partner. And Spring represents like a lot of things. It represents new beginnings, like flowers and plants, and it's something that I personally like also. So it was quite an easy decision to come to this name. Actually, we knew we wanted it to be like one word, but it has to be easy to remember by all ethnicities in Singapore. I mean, it's not just Chinese in Singapore. So
Yes.
for everybody who comes by to Chinatown, basically it's a word that everybody knows and everybody can remember. So whether it's chun in Chinese or spring in English,
Yeah.
everybody knows what spring is.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we knew we wanted this specific word actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you have 3 more stores, it will be summer,
yeah,
autumn,
yeah.
winter.
That's the plan. Yeah, that's the plan.
That's the plan.
Different concepts, but different seasons as well.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what it represents also. Yeah.
How did you find the right location with your business partner to be in Hong Lim Complex? There's so many locations in Singapore.
I think we didn't know specifically we wanted Hong Lim Complex, but we kind of both knew we liked the Chinatown area. We have a lot of childhood memories, and we agreed that we have a lot of childhood memories in this area. So for me, I've had a couple of relatives and uncles and aunties who have their own like watch repair shops. It used to be a very big business in Singapore, in Chinatown especially. So I have an uncle who has a watch repair shop in Chinatown Point, so it's very nearby. So I have like really vivid memories of spending some time here in Chinatown when I was younger, visiting him on weekends, just watching what he does, because it's a kind of like lost art in Singapore.
Yes.
Like watch repairs is a very old art, right?
Yes.
So I have a lot of memories coming to Chinatown Point just to visit him and seeing what he does, what he did. And then for my business partner, he actually grew up eating like this very specific kueh stall in Hong Lim Complex. So we both knew we have a lot of childhood memories in Chinatown.
Yeah.
But Hong Lim Complex wasn't like planned. We saw a few places in Chinatown, but we happened to chance upon this unit, this corner. So I think when we saw it, we kind of knew like, oh, we actually really liked it. It was just the right space, the right size. It was not too big, not too small.
Yeah.
It's in a corner. It's quite hidden, but not too hidden that it's very hard to find. So it's just outside the MRT station, right opposite the car park.
For our overseas friends, Chinatown in Singapore, it is located in the central business district in Singapore. So, but you can imagine it's also an area itself that's a lot of like hustle bustle going on, a lot of lanterns, a lot of small shops, and different kinds of people you will be seeing in this area. So Spring, located in the corner of like this Chinatown area, is very, very special. And to the product itself, the coffee beans, can you share with us where do you source the beans?
Yeah, sure. So the coffee beans we get from our partners at Santino Coffee. So we know Yi Yang, who is they roast they are the owners of Santino Coffee, and 2 Degrees North is basically their specialty arm. So we know Yi Yang and the team quite well.
Yeah.
My business partner's office basically shares the same space in the same industrial building as them. So I think it just made sense for us because we know them personally, and we know the quality of their beans. It's just not many places represent their coffees well, because there's a lot of players in Singapore, there's a lot of big roasters in Singapore, but we tried their coffees before and we really believe in what they are doing. So our coffee we get mainly from, at least for the espresso based coffees, we get them mainly from 2 Degrees North.
Yeah.
And we wanted that because we knew we wanted the espresso offering to be very easily palatable to the general public. So it's mainly Brazil and Honduras. So these are flavors that most people would know and would accept. Very easy drinking, very chocolatey, very nutty flavors. So these are flavors that are not too crazy or not too adventurous for people who are new to specialty coffee. But we also knew we wanted like our filter coffee offerings to be for people who are slightly more adventurous, they want to try something different. We also get our filter coffees from 2 Degrees North, but we try and change them up occasionally, offer something that is slightly more funky, maybe flavors that people have not really tried before. So we do have a couple of single origins that we get from 2 Degrees North also that is slightly more crazy.
Yeah.
So people who want to just go for the safe flavors, they have the espresso-based coffees.
Yes.
People who are slightly more adventurous, try something different. We also have our filter-based filter coffees on the bar. So we get most of our coffees from them, but we try and cater to different crowds in Chinatown, basically. Yeah.
In terms of operations, I remember when I first walked into the shop, everything is very neat, very tidy, and there's a boss lady making coffee, and you know that she's the boss lady because you can just tell from the vibes, and everything is in place. The music is nice, and then the coffee is very tasty. So I wouldn't tell that it is set up by two business partners that have started the first coffee shop they have ever done. So what is the magic you have here?
I mean, thanks for thanks for saying such nice things. I mean, I wouldn't say it's magic. I feel it's more of the experience that we have that I think shows that comes across, hopefully. And we have had people who told us the same thing as you said, actually. So you're not the first person to say the same thing. So I'm very glad and very thankful that it shows that we know what we are doing.
Yes.
So like I said, I've been in the industry for quite a while. I know kind of what appeals to people. I know what to take note of when it comes to operations. When customers come in, what they take note of. So I think it's the experience that shows. So and for my business partner, because he's not in F&B business, but he has traveled. He has been to so many cafes in Singapore. So he kind of, when he goes to all these places, he kind of sees like different things. So it's very interesting because I have basically a lot of peers who are not in F&B. Most of my peers are not in F&B. So when we go out and have a meal or go to a cafe or go to a restaurant, the things that they observe and the things that I observe are very different. So whenever I point out things that to me is a very natural thing, because I'm in the industry, they are like, oh, actually I didn't even see that. I don't care, like, what do you mean that this person is doing this because of this? The workflow makes sense, but I observe all these things. So I think it helps that I've been in the industry for a very long time. So I kind of, when we set up this place, it's not perfect, but when we set up this place, we put a lot of thought into how the workflow is going to be like, and it's not just for the customers, it's also for the people who work here. So it's whether it's me or whether it's for my part-timers who work here, I think we put a lot of thought into making sure that it makes sense as much as possible. The space is as comfortable as possible for not just the customers but also for the people who work here, because I think that is very important. The people who work here also have to feel very comfortable working here. And I've been working in the industry for so long. I know kind of like the bar setup, what works, what kind of works, what kind of doesn't work as efficiently. So I think it's very interesting that people who come in here who know, who actually observe these things and then they point this out, they know, basically. So I think it's not just a magic touch or anything. I think it's a lot of it is the experience. I feel. So I can't, like, we really knew that this had to be here, and this machine had to be here, this mat has to be here, or this sink has to be here, because I've been working for so long. So I think it's like a muscle memory thing.
It's an instinct you have.
It's an instinct that
to streamline the operations,
to streamline, exactly,
what makes sense, what
to
not.
make the workflow as efficient as possible.
Can you go through with us, if you are happy to share, like the challenges you have and how did you cope with it?
I think mainly the challenges, when I first started out, I think the challenges were mainly with customers, because it's not easy to predict how customers are going to react. I think that is one of the biggest challenges in Singapore, actually, in F&B, in hospitality, because everybody has different expectations when they go to a place. So they have no idea what you're offering, they have no idea what to expect. So it always happens when the conflict always happens when the expectations and what you provide, what you give them, don't match. So that's always how there's always disagreements, there's always negative reviews, right? So I think that's one of my biggest challenges, even not just here, but even just in F&B in general, when you just come across as something, they just get a different vibe from you, even though you don't mean it. They just they just see your face and they think that, oh, you are not happy, or maybe it's just your tones or your face, right? Or you don't smile. Then they just assume that because you are not happy, you don't want to, you are not giving them good customer service. That is really the biggest challenge I think we face in F&B, unfortunately, because people just expect a lot from hospitality and F&B people in general.
Yes.
When actually we're also humans. We also have good and bad days. We try our very best to not show that when it comes to customer service, but unfortunately that it just doesn't happen every day, right? So it's very challenging when a lot of people in Singapore they're not forgiving enough. They just see one side of it, and then they just automatically assume the worst of you, or just assume the worst of the shop just because of one encounter, one incident. They don't even give you a second chance. So it is a very big challenge for F&B, for coffee, not just for coffee. I mean, it's just the industry in general, which is a very unfortunate thing because I feel, I've worked in places overseas before, and I feel that people overseas generally, I think it's just the culture, the vibe.
Culture.
People are just more forgiving overseas. They kind of, they can see that, oh, you're just one person, you only have two hands, you can only do so much. So people are very forgiving, not in Singapore, but I guess in places like Australia and New Zealand. It's just the culture there. They are just willing to, they don't mind waiting for a little bit because they know what they are gonna get is of good quality. But unfortunately, we just don't get it here in Singapore. So I think the biggest challenge for me was always, and is still the same, is always to make sure you kind of manage customers' expectations.
I think you brought a very good point, which is how can customers and owners like coffee shops understand each other a bit better? Like as a coffee shop, understand the customers, like what are their needs, what are they thinking, what are their expectations, and so as the customer we have to stand in the shoes of coffee shops. Okay, what are they facing, especially if it's small business, there are only one or two people running the shop. You can't have a coffee in 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It's impossible. You can go to a bigger chains if you want faster service, but it's more like the understanding and the expectations from both sides. That is very, very important. You have set up this shop for around 3 months now. What have been the happiest moments or fulfilling moments you had that just genuinely make you very happy, or you know that you are making the right decision setting up Spring?
I think the most satisfaction I get is seeing regulars come back, even though there are many options for them here. And I wouldn't blame them if they just wanted to try different things or go for something cheaper, because there are options here for them. But I think the biggest satisfaction for me and for us that keeps us going is regulars who come back every day. They every time they come back, they tell us that, I really enjoy your coffee. Today the coffee tastes especially good. I mean, we're just doing the same thing over and over again. To me, it's really like a muscle memory thing, right? But when they tell you things and they really make it a point to tell you how much they enjoyed the experience, I think that is the most satisfying thing for me. And it's not just, 10 years ago or now, I think it's the same kind of satisfaction that I get from being in this industry that I don't get from working in an office or in a corporate job. It's not like one specific person or one specific customer, but I think it's on generally we just, like, this kind of comments really keeps us going.
And is there anything you want to add on before we end the discussion, or anything you want to say?
Not really. I think the only thing is I just hopefully people can appreciate the industry more. Show their support more. It's not just financially or like just going to a coffee shop every day to drink the coffee. I mean, that of course helps. But hopefully the mindset of the general public changes so that they understand that what we are doing is also a craft. More and more people they know that like making coffee is a craft, and hopefully more people can support that and appreciate that, oh, like this is a niche area that not everybody can do, and if they can do it well, I'm going to support them and tell them how much I appreciate like them putting in the effort, the practice to get to this stage, because it is not easy. Yeah, it's not easy to just say tomorrow I just want to open a cafe, I'm just going to do it. Yeah, it's not enough just to say I watch YouTube videos and I know what I'm doing, because when, like properly setting up a place really requires a lot of effort, a lot of craft behind it. There's a lot of practice that people don't see. And it's obviously a very underpaid industry, unfortunately. At least we hope that more people can appreciate what we are doing and show their support, whether it's financially or just giving you words of encouragement. And I think that really helps us a lot.
Thank you so much, Wren, for coming today. Before we end, we are gonna play a little game. When I first told Wren that we're gonna play a little game last week, she was like, what game? It's called Quick Shots. So I'm gonna ask you a few questions, and you have to answer within 10 seconds.
Sure.
Okay. Do you prefer morning rush or afternoon calm?
Afternoon calm.
Afternoon calm. Okay. Best selling pastry in spring?
I would say it's the scones.
Favorite song that you played in the cafe?
Favorite song?
Yeah.
I think it has to be something from Coldplay. Personally, my favorite band. So I think Yellow, or actually one of my other favorite songs is Here Comes the Sun from the Beatles. So I think that really represents our shop very well. It's also our Wi-Fi password in case you needed it. I mean, it just represents the season perfectly for me.
Dream coffee destination?
Of course, it's Melbourne.
Melbourne.
It has to be Melbourne.
Okay. A pet peeve you have running the cafe here?
I think it's general untidiness, because I'm quite a neat person. So I think when people leave like crumbs all over or like they just eat like I don't know, it's just a pet peeve of mine when people are just not tidy enough.
Or leave their own rubbish.
Leave their own tissues on the table. Like but it's a normal thing. But it's just a pet peeve of mine.
Okay. Thank you so much, Wren, for coming to the podcast. And if you haven't followed us on Instagram, our account is @Grind and Shine Podcast. And please subscribe us to YouTube, Grind and Shine, and Spotify for the latest episode. See you. Bye.